Welcome to Toy Polloi, Pocket Money Memories.
Hello and welcome to Toy Polloi and episode 5 of Pocket Money Memories. Now I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's sent in videos this time because they've been really fantastic and the stories are getting better and better. And if you'd like to take part in the next episode, then do get in touch because I'd really love to see your stories. So let's sit back and watch episode 5 of Pocket Money Memories.
I'm here with a story of a toy that I got many years ago. I had to have been about 9 and I'm pushing 50 now. We went to the Livonia Mall, which is in southeastern Michigan, and I saw the most beautiful red Matchbox Corvette that I had ever seen. I had some Hot Wheels ones, a gold Hot Wheels one, I think a yellow one, maybe an orange one. And this shiny red Matchbox Corvette blew my mind. It was in one of the tall stands that was right by the checkout, the cash register at KB Toys. And I said to my mom, I have to have it. And at this time, I was still too young to really have an allowance, didn't really have pocket change. But my mom said, we're going to get a haircut. You can't have it right now. If you behave yourself, we might come back next week. And if it's still here, maybe you can get it. And I was on my best behavior all week long. So here it is, the little Corvette that my mom got for me after a week of behaving. And other than a little bit of pocket wear on the stripes, it looks very much like it did when I was a wee lad in 1979.
In the name of G.I. Joe, the action force and the power of the Tiger Force. My pocket money memory from back in the day was in 1988 when I first bought my General Hawk. I felt great.
Greetings, Toy Polloi viewers. It's Major Plug from the Eltenda, USA. Okay, my pocket money memory is walking into my local Woolworths. They're out of business now. Back in the 80s, walking into my local Woolworths with pocket money in 1988 and finding G.I. Joe General Hawk when he was supposed to be discontinued in 1988. I was really happy because my parents split up in the 80s and I was back and forth in between countries, and G.I. Joe didn't get to Mexico till like later on. They got there late. So I missed out pretty much on a real American hero from 85, 86, So tracking them down as an adult now, people, certain individuals, they want, they're less fortunate, so they want to break thumbs and deteriorate toys, That's K-Man stuff, So when dealing with K-Man, then you gotta be a K-Man yourself. So what I gotta say to them is, I'm ahead of the time, way too advanced in the evolution, and I'll be the Caveman quick, and I sure wouldn't mind. With my bare hands, the pleasure's all mine.
One of the earliest memories I have as a child on buying my own toy were these two LJN Voltrons. They came on a very cheap blister card and they were fairly inexpensive, I think maybe $3-4 at the time. I had to do various chores around the house to save money to purchase them on my own, and I remember when I got them I was kind of underwhelmed or disappointed in the lack of playability that these two had to offer, and they quickly got lost in the bottom of my toy box, never to be seen again until at least I was an adult and purchased them again to have on display on my Voltron collection. Thanks.
When Star Wars came out, it was such a big influence on me, and I was 10 years old when the film came out, and I got to see it most of the summer, and just kept going back to see the movie and loved it so much. Well, there were no toys out. They had the infamous send away card here in America, and my parents did that, but it was like 78 or 79 before the first, I guess it was 78 before the first toys started coming out, and one of the first toys was the Han Solo blaster. And I wanted this thing so bad, and this is the very one that I got when I was a kid. When I would walk home from school, there was a dime store, is what we called them then. I guess it'd be a dollar store, a pound store now, but anyway, when on the way home from school, and I would stop there and look at the toys every day, and they had gotten in the Han Solo blaster, and I wanted it so bad. I could not stand it. So what I did was I quit eating lunch at school, and I would save the $1 for lunch every day, and I would put it on what we call layaway here in America, and which you pay a little bit at a time. And so I think the thing was $6 maybe. It was $5.98 or something like that, and I paid $1 a day. Well, I kept talking to my mom about it because my birthday was coming up, and she was like, well, you know, don't get that, don't try to get that, you know, because she was like, you know, she already had it for my birthday, but she didn't tell me that, and because she didn't want to spoil the surprise. But I kind of broke down and I told her that I put it on layaway, and she was very mad at me. She was very angry, very disappointed. She was like, why'd you put it on layaway? Why'd you do that? You know, so she was like very upset about that. But at the same time, she was so fed up with the whole thing that she immediately drove me to the store, got the thing out of layaway, and then let me have it. And so I got to have the gun. I cannot tell you, this is the very blaster, and it has not quit working in 40 years. And the first thing I did was take the Star Wars sticker off the front. I've lost one of my bolts, but this was my thing. It was one thing to play with the Kenner figures and or Palitoy figures, but it was another thing to be able to run around the yard and have the gun and be Han Solo.
My passion for collecting, even as a youngster, was Action Man. I love Action Man. He's just the best toy that was ever made for boys. Of course, in those days, I only got £0.50 pocket money. £0.50, not a lot of money, but it was an immense sum for me at that time. I used to clasp the coin in my hand, run up the road to Peter Toner's and gaze wondrously at the massive display of cards with part uniforms on. There was helmets, guns, pants and a jacket, and occasionally a life belt. Great fun in the bath, of course. But my favourite Action Man was the Red Devil. He was amazing. Scarlet uniform, scarlet, white and blue parachute. I mean, what a guy. You could throw him up in the air and he would float majestically down into the jungles of your back garden and fight enemies unknown. It was amazing. Of course, in reality in those days, that Action Man had a hard plastic head, which made throwing him up in the air quite a precarious thing to do. And one day, of course, it happened. He landed with a thud and his head broke. He was dead. I mean, if he'd lost an arm or a leg, 2 legs, he could still fight, but a head, he was a goner. I ran into the house with the limp corpse in my hand and begged for a new one. No chance. You had to wait for birthdays or Christmas for a new Action Man. Well, I did, and eventually he arrived, after what seemed like an eternity. But I had a new Action Man. Well, it was the winter and it was blowing a hoolie outside. Perfect weather for parachuting your Action Man. I ran out into the back and threw him up in the air, and yeah, he'd catch the occasional breeze and he'd float off into the backyard or the entry or some bushes somewhere. But this day he caused a real breeze, a gust of wind, and he shot up into the sky and landed on the roof of the house. I was 7. How was that even possible? But he did. I'd lost him. Lost in action. I ran into the house, told everybody there was nothing they could do. There was no one able to climb up onto the roof and get him down for me. I was stuck. He'd gone. Devastation. I was upset for what seemed like an eternity, possibly 10 or 12 minutes in reality. Still, that night, or maybe a few nights later, it's hard to tell, there was an almighty storm. And the next day I went out into the back and looked amongst the devastation, twigs and the odd leaf. But over in the corner, amongst a pile of leaves, there he was, my Action Man. Happy ending. I got him back. Fantastic. He was rotten dirty. I had no idea how long he'd been up there, but oh joy.
When I was a kid, my grandmother used to take me to do her shopping on the weekends. And usually I would come home with an action figure. Either I would buy it with my own money, or sometimes grandmother would buy it for me. Until one day we were at Kmart and I saw a toy that cost a little more than an action figure. I asked my grandmother if I had enough money for it. She told me that I didn't, and that she didn't have enough either. But if I really wanted it, I could put it in layaway. I didn't really understand what that meant, so she explained to me that I would give them my money, and they would put it away for me, and I'd come back each week and give them a little bit more, and eventually I'd get to take it home. I didn't like the sound of that, but I really had to have that toy, and that toy was the Rancor. So I wanted this toy so badly that I went ahead and I put him in layaway. I think I had $2 that I paid down on him. And what I did for the rest of it was I would walk up and down the streets and the alleys and I would collect soda bottles. And those soda bottles could be turned in for a nickel each. They had a 5-cent deposit on the glass bottles back then. And normally I would use it to buy candy. But the first day I told the lady at the corner store that I didn't want the candy, I wanted the money, and she was shocked. But she also said she was proud of me because I was earning money on my own to buy something that I wanted instead of blowing it on sweets. And several weeks later, I brought my Rancor home, where he proceeded to eat Luke, the Gamorrean Guard, Leia, Jawas, whoever. Pretty much anybody was fair game for my Rancor. And I had a lot of fun playing with him.
In order to have this pocket money, famous pocket money, I used to do little errands, chores, such as helping in the house, go buy groceries, help my grandma go pick up some groceries, or go in some charity store and with the little change left, buy candies or toys. I used to go in this little tabaccheria and giocattoli and buy some toy soldier, green army men, the little teeny ones. They had big ones, but I always liked the teeny ones because you got a bigger quantity, of course. The one I remember particularly, they have different company, of course, the Airfix, Matchbox, they were made in English, and we had Italian ones such as Esci, Italaeri, and Atlantic. Atlantic especially is the oldest one. And I always liked the packaging. They have a beautiful cartoon in the front representing the unit, and it's a way actually where I learn history. My grandfather was a big fan of World War II, especially history. It was a veteran too, so it taught me a bunch of stuff, and it was a way to read books because you gotta know how you play with these guys, you gotta know what they are and so forth. Really fascinating. The one actually I picked up, there was a unit called Carabinieri, which is a police unit with a marching band. I remember buying a box which was 100 liter, which nowadays I don't know how much is it. It was really small, a black card with a big Italian flag on the side, and there used to be one, and there were like maybe 10-15 soldiers inside. So this packaging was smaller than some other one, but that's what make them sell more, because they were affordable. You can get a little present to take home.
Thanks for watching Toy Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow Toy Polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
My family, we watch your show. I enjoy watching it. I picked up watching you on YouTube. I've tried some restorations of my own, but I just have a great time watching you guys at Toy Polloi and seeing what you come up with. Thank you so much, and have a great day.